You want to know how to do Leviathan, and this isn't going to be the most in-depth guide, this isn't going to be the longest guide, it's going to be a short, quick guide to kind of get you ready for Leviathan. This is going to teach you everything. It's not going to be the most edited video ever, but I'm going to teach you the basics of Leviathan. We're going to talk about subclasses, weapons, encounters, everything, really everything. And by the way, we're also talking about weapons that you should be going for. And before we start, this weekend I'm actually going to be the raid captain for a raid that I'm hosting, which is, believe it or not, the Leviathan. And if you want to join in, either sometime this weekend, or maybe next weekend, or just if you want to do a raid, if you want help with maybe Outbreak Perfected, Whisper, a dungeon, anything like that, then or you just want to join the My Destiny community, then my PSN is the same as my YouTube. So yeah. Also, a huge shout out to Marcus B Gaming for helping me out with this raid. This is absolute legend. I'll be making a video about that in a second, but yeah, let's get into it. So the first part is going to be what is called the Castellum. This is going to be basically your checkpoint area, or as some people might refer to it as the main hub or whatever. Basically, this is a checkpoint. You're going to repeat the same encounter process as you do the first time multiple times. Each encounter you're gonna come back to this room and do the same thing, and it's not like super difficult. You're gonna see this in the background gameplay. I don't really need to explain it too much. There's gonna be like about 5 doors, and each door has a symbol in front of it. Basically, you're gonna step on that symbol, defend a little bit, and that's about it. You wait. No, it's crazy. You wait. You wait until you see a big guy, and once you see a big guy, you will 100% know that is a big guy. You kill him, and yeah, then you go to a flag, take the flag, do that till you get the door open, and do it's super easy. All right, it is the easiest thing to do ever. Now, what I recommend doing is have everyone look around and make sure you know, and make sure you see all the different doors and all the different locations. Because opening doors is actually kind of weird for someone's first raid run. So it's just easy, guys. You really don't. It doesn't need much explaining. You'll understand when you go in. Right there in front of the doors are going to be your symbols. So once you step on one and you see a lot of Cabal coming towards you, that's basically the start and close to the end of what happens. So let's talk about the actual encounters, because this is the real part that people kind of need to know about. And by the way, each encounter has a separate loadout that should and shouldn't be used, because in one area, Titan Bubble could be absolutely insanely good, but the next encounter, it could be probably the worst subclass to use in that encounter. So you really have to kind of look around and see what the encounter is about, see what you're going against and all that, before you actually choose your class. So let's get to the first real encounter. Your first real encounter is going to be the Gauntlet, and this is actually very, 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 very difficult to learn. But once you have it down, this is by far the easiest part of the entire thing, other than obviously the Castellum. So how this is going to work is basically you have 2 teams. You have the Chalice team, and then you have whatever it is, the dog or the axes or the cups, or not the cup, the dog, the axe, or I don't know what the other one is. It's cup and something else, and basically it's cup and whatever's across the room. I was on Cup team, as you can see, and basically how this would work is you had 2 teams, so 2 teams of 3, and we're just going to focus on Cup team, or whatever your team is, and whatever you do is going to be basically the same thing as what the other team does. So the 3 players are divided into roles. One is going to be standing on the plate, as you see me doing. That's my role. The other player is going to be sitting on the ground, just, killing ads. And the other player is going to be your runner. So basically what I would do is I am going to stand on this plate the entire time, And as you can see, the runner picks up the orb once we kill a champion boss or whatever, and he's going to go into that area. Now, I want you to listen closely. He's going to call either cup top, he's going to call cup top, cup middle, or cup bottom. Now, if he says cup top, I shoot either the bottom or the middle. And since I'm on the, the plate, then what am I going to shoot? The top, right? No. I'm going to shoot the opposite of whatever he says. Or me and the other player, the one on the ground killing ads, we're going to shoot whatever he doesn't call. So since I'm on the plate, if he calls cup middle, I'm going to shoot cup top. And my other teammate, the person who's killing ads, is going to kill or shoot the cup bottom. If he calls, let's say cup top, I'll shoot cup middle and he will shoot cup bottom. The person on the ground on the cup team is basically going to kill ads, and what he's basically going to do is he's going to shoot the bottom-most that isn't called. I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to shoot the topmost of whatever isn't called. So whatever he calls is the only one that we don't shoot. Now, basically, and this is a little bit difficult to learn, but when the runner will go in, and when he calls that, he will see a thing pop up saying either cup top, cup bottom, cup middle, whatever. And you call that, and whatever isn't called, the people outside in the gauntlet shoot. So the runner, once he calls that and the people shoot the correct arrows, will open a door and he will be able to cross in the little glass part. Then he will go to axes. He basically will just keep going through. So the next is going to be axes. He's going to go all around until he makes it back to cup. So you basically do the same thing. But as you can see, he calls cup top. So I shoot the middle and my teammate shoots the bottom. Then I move over to the next platform. But, and we basically keep repeating the process. But the person on the ground is going to do, once we shoot all of the arrows, instead of moving to the next plate with me, he needs to kill a scion that spawns, where the last part was. So that's why he isn't with me at all times. Once you do this, and each team does this and alternates for enough times, basically a bunch of orbs are going to spawn in the middle, and everyone is going to go into, basically they're going to all be a runner. This is the worst part. You're going to carry orbs, and basically, or actually I don't know if you carry orbs or not, you might, or yeah, you do carry orbs, but basically, once all of the gauntlet things are done, everyone's going to grab an orb, you're going to get all teleported into the gauntlet, and you each need to go into different circles. So basically, you see what my runner friend is doing? There's different circles. And we all need to go in, but we all need to go into different circles. So you just need to call which one you're going in. So let's say middle right or middle bottom. Pretty self-explanatory. So that is the gauntlet. What I would recommend bringing is a 600 RPM auto rifle, such as the forward path. And if you're a runner, it doesn't really matter. I'd recommend having something like a shotgun to kill the big guy. And if you're a person on the plate, I'd recommend having something like an auto rifle, as well as something that can shoot long ranges, like a Jotun, a mountaintop, a sniper, or whatever. Ariana's Vow would work fine. So that's how it works. Oh, by the way, the person on the ground also needs to be on, you need to be on the plate to actually deal damage to the arrows. So, yeah. And by the way, auto rifles for everyone really, or just SMGs, something to spam that with. Because you don't need to shoot it once, you need to spam it. You need to both, you and your teammate need to both hit it at the exact same time. And as far as the people on the ground, killing the ads and the bosses and everything, you also should have an SMG or an auto rifle. So that is that. As far as supers go, you don't need to use a super because there's no boss in this encounter. So yeah, you really do not need a super. So that is the Gauntlet. Now on to the next part. But before we get into the next part, I do want to remind you that every time you finish an actual real encounter, you're going to be back at the Castellum and you need to do the door thing again. So just do the scan and you will be fine. Once again, any loadout goes. Just use whatever you have, whatever you want, whatever works. And by the way, before each encounter, you can place what's called a raid banner, which will give you full ammo, full super, full everything. So you can switch your loadout each time, and that is very important. So, oh, by the way, you do need to buy raid banners, but someone probably has them. If you want to buy them, go to probably your best bet is to go to Hawthorne in the tower. You can buy like 10 or 20 for 30 legendary shards, or just a bunch of glimmer. So yeah. Now on to the next real encounter. Next encounter is the Royal Pools. Basically, this is super simple. You have 2 teams of 3, once again. Each will have a different role. Actually, really there's only 2 roles. There's runners, and then there's going to be your, I guess, defenders. And everyone has the exact same role as a kind of runner or whatever. So basically, there's 4 plates on each side of the map, and there's one in the very middle. The one in the very middle has an orb. You are going to want to go, you're going to have basically 2 people in the middle, 1 person on each orb. So you have you have 4 people separated into, or not on each orb, on each plate, and 2 people in the middle next to the orb. Now, each person will pick up an orb before they go in, and basically you just need to keep alternating players. But before you alternate, make sure you take an orb from the middle. So once you take an orb from the middle, you'll alternate with your teammate. The reason you're alternating is because you are actually going to have something that will protect you from dying in the water. If that buff goes away, then you will start dying from just standing where you need to stand. You can see in the background gameplay we are alternating from players, so once again, your loadout doesn't really matter. I just have something like a Jotun or a mountaintop to take out ads very quickly. Something like an auto rifle, a SMG, a pulse rifle, a hand cannon, anything will really do. Hand cannons are going to be pretty good though. And at the end, once you've done this for long enough, in the middle will be chains that pop up. Once you kill all the purple chains, that's going to be your DPS phase. If you don't do it in time, I don't know what I think you have to just keep going until you get all the chains. But yeah, for DPS, I'd recommend something like a well, just 1 well of radiance, and anything like hammers, golden gun, blade barrage, anything that can be ranged. And for DPS on that, Jotun, mountaintop, rocket launchers, grenade launchers are really nice. Wardcliff coil would actually be kind of good as well. So yeah, that is the Royal Pools. Pretty simple. You are going to be on your toes the entire time, so just keep alternating with your teammates. Make sure you give call-outs and everything like that. So yeah. Now after that, you're going to head once again back to the Castellum. Now, I'd recommend every time you go to the Castellum, ask anyone if they need to do anything. Grab a drink, grab something to eat, go to the bathroom, do anything at all, because this is going to be your place to kind of chill out a little bit. Obviously, you could do it before an encounter. That's what we did sometimes, but I feel like the Castellum is a nice place to just kind of chill out and, just talk or whatever. Now, the next encounter, the real encounter, is going to be the Pleasure Gardens. Now, I'd recommend, because this one's kind of like, it's going to test a few people's abilities, I'd recommend 3 people, if they suck, be the followers. And there's 2 teams. There's going to be the 2 shooters and the 4 runners. One person's going to be the leader, and basically he's going to be at the bottom, and the 3 followers just follow the leader, and yeah, if 3 people suck, I just recommend them be followers. And basically after that, I'd recommend before you actually start the encounter, make sure you clear out all the ads, and place a raid banner. So as you're gonna see, the 4 runners are gonna drop down, and basically how we did it is one person is the leader, the 3 follow. The other 2 people are going to be up top in shooting the spores. So basically all 4 people have to grab this orb thing, and they have to make their way over to the different spores. And once they shoot it, by the way, all 4 people with the kind of glowing balls need to be near those spores, and then the person can shoot it. You get a damage buff. We stacked up to 12. Now there are about 6 of these, but you don't need to shoot any of them technically. All you need to do is kill the dogs. But I'd recommend shooting at least 2 if you are kind of opted out for DPS, because you're going to need to at least 2, because that is going to help you kill it faster, or kill the dogs faster, and there's 6 dogs. So I'd recommend roaming supers, something like hammers. Striker works fine for titans. For hunters, really anything. Spectral blades, arc staff, whatever. And for warlocks, I'd say storm trance or dawn blade probably are going to be your best bets. Maybe even nova warp if you want to go that way. As far as weapons go, I use the falling guillotine, the sword. That is a really nice weapon to use for killing the dogs. But you do have to kill all 6 in a certain time frame, or else you will just not be able to complete it. So that is the Pleasure Gardens. Once you kill all the dogs, then just make your way back, and that is the encounter. After you've done the Pleasure Gardens, you're going to come back to the Castellum, and once you're at the Castellum, open the next door, obviously, and the next door will always be the exact same. Then you're going to head to this room. This is not the final boss. This is an encounter or the final boss. This is just a kind of breakpoint, a little room to kind of just chill in. But as soon as you open the door, you're going to go into the Callous room. Now, it doesn't start automatically when you go into that room. And by the way, there is going to be a raid banner that you can place down, so if you want to change your loadout completely, even your super, do that now. Now there's going to be 2 teams. There's going to be your main room team, and then there's going to be your skull room team. Your skull room team is basically going to be what you're gonna do is, well, everyone's gonna kill ads in each room, and then once you kill enough, then you'll be teleported to an area. Everyone has to pick different orbs to go into, and basically I'd all assign the orbs before the game starts. And the 3 people that are going to be, actually staying in the main room, those people are going to be going through the orbs, the separate orbs, so 1 player for each orb. Then that is basically whoever goes in those orbs first will be teleported back to the main room, and those are going to be the main room people. Now, I don't have an actual video of me in the skull room, but it's pretty simple. Basically, each player that goes into the main room are going to jump over the fence and into the orb. The other 3 people are also going to assign an orb, but go after the other 3 people. Instead of jumping over, they're just going to sit there and look at the orb. They're going to kind of run into the wall, and yeah, it's basically like that. And then after that, back in the main room are going to be 4 scions that spawn. Basically, those 4 scions are going to be, that's in the main room, by the way. The other people in the Callous room, or the skull room, are going to see, each different player, all three players, are going to see different signs. Axes, cup. Oh, by the way, this is just like the gauntlet. So axes, cup, dogs, and sun. Now, each player is going to call one. So let's say it's axes, it's dogs, and it's cup. Then the people in the main room are going to shoot sun. Basically, it's a scion, or actually, I'd just say punch. The scion that is relative to the sun plate. So you do that a couple times, after the scion gets punched, then in the skull room a scion will appear. They have to shoot the scion, and then you repeat that process a couple more times until everyone gets teleported back to the main room, and everyone stands on a certain plate, and I'm pretty sure it goes sun, dogs, axes, cup. And then basically when you're on that plate, you can kill Callus. The weapons and subclasses I'd bring for hunters, Golden Gun with Celestial Nighthawk is great. If you can't use that, I'd say Tether. For warlocks, I'd recommend going Dawnblade, or if you want to, you could go or Nova Bomb. Either of those are probably going to be your best bet. Now, quick thing, you're not going to want to use shotguns. You're not going to want to use swords. Anything close range, you're not going to want to use to kill Callus, at least. For Titans, I'd recommend 100% either top tree hammers, and that's about it. Just hammers in general. So either top or bottom tree Sunbreaker. That's about the only thing you want to use. And as far as weapons go, for boss DPS, a lot of people use Witherhoard. Do not use Witherhoard. It got the nerf, and basically it does nothing to bosses now, so I would not recommend using that. It is a terrible weapon for the actual boss. Swords are also completely useless, because you are going to be a far bit away from the boss. And shotguns, you probably understand, it's going to be basically useless. Even stuff like Chaperone, it's not going to be able to even reach. So, what weapons should you use? Mountaintop, Jotun, and Ariana's Vow are all perfect. Either of those will work. Mountaintop is kinetic, and it's legendary, so you can use a exotic weapon in your energy slot or your heavy slot. And as far as, I guess, primary weapons go, if you want to use an exotic, I'd say the best for boss DPS is Sweet Business, especially with Actium War Rig, is very, very good for boss DPS. Sweet Business with Actium War Rig, if you're a Titan, that's what you should probably use. I was using Gnawing Hunger, but I would recommend Sweet Business with Actium War Rig. If you can't use that, any auto rifle or pulse rifle, that's fine. And then I'd recommend either using Jotun, Mountaintop, Ariana's Vow, maybe a sniper if you want to go that way. It also works. For heavy, I'd say the best weapon to use, either going to be, if you want to use an exotic, Whisper is just fine. As far as other exotics go, Xenophage, Leviathan's Breath, what else? I guess that's about it. That's going to be your boss DPS kind of thing. And after that, weapons that aren't exotic for the heavy slot, I'd 100% say your best bet is going to be most likely either a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher. An LMG could work, but I would say that's kind of not as good as your LMG your rocket launcher or grenade launcher. So that is the boss room. Once you do enough DPS, if you don't kill them, you have to do the cycle again, where you kill the scions and you call the things or whatever. So you do that until the boss is dead, and that's that. So, it was a bit of a long video, but I just want to I want to make it as short as possible without me missing too much. I may have missed a bunch of things, that's probably right, but that's basically how the raid works. Your raid captain will probably explain it, and by the way, I'm going to be the raid captain for this week's raid, so if you want to join me, please do so. I will be helping anyone out that wants help. So, yeah, that's for you guys, and peace out. Oh, by the way, so after you do all that, that is basically the entire raid. A few things before I end the video. And by the way, if you're looking for just a tutorial, nothing else, then that is the video. But really quick, I want to go through all of the kind of stuff that you're looking for afterwards, and the weapons that you should be looking for. So first, you're gonna get a bunch of stuff. You're gonna get like a trophy, or not a trophy, or I think you actually might get a trophy, but you get some like triumphs and stuff, as well as a few other things. And if you have the quest on the comms, and it says complete the Leviathan raid, you just completed the Leviathan raid. So basically, as soon as you complete the raid, you will get the next quest up. You have to do a few more things, and then you get the Legend of Acreus. It is a heavy shotgun. It is kind of weird, so I mean, it's not the greatest weapon, but it is kind of useful for some things. Next is going to be the weapons that you should be looking for. The sword, the pulse rifle, the shotgun, some of the weapons like those cannot be acquired. Or not the pulse rifle, the fusion rifle, and the shotgun. I don't know what else. But the sniper rifle, the sidearm, the scout rifle, and the sword, you don't really want. Those are kind of bad, in my opinion. The Mob Justice SMG isn't terrible. I would say that's one of the... I mean, it's not terrible. It's not bad for an SMG, that is. But if you do like 900 SMGs that are kind of stable, I think Mob Justice is going to be perfect. Next is the hand cannon, which is a 150 hand cannon. It's called the Midnight Coupe, and it's really, really weird. I've seen some people talk absolute trash about it, but some people think it's really, really good. I think it is pretty good. I don't think it's the best weapon from this raid, but it definitely is one of the better ones. The rocket launcher Sins of the Past is definitely one you should be looking out for. That's one of the better weapons in the raid, actually. So if you can get Sins of the Past, good. You just got one of the best weapons in the game, actually, for rocket launchers. The auto rifle Ghost Primus is also really, really good. It is a 600 auto, so I mean that's really good. And the pulse rifle, which is the Anulgra Address, is probably the best weapon in the raid for some people, actually. Sure, especially for PvP. So anyway, guys, that is the video. If you enjoyed and you like this style of content, then make sure you subscribe, because it does help the channel out a lot. And by the way, no videos are going to be like super long like this one, unless it's like another raid guide. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to Marcus B Gaming, and if you want to do anything like raids or something with me, then in the comments. And I play on PS4, so that is the video, guys. Peace out.